Good evening, everybody. Welcome again to VITA. We are very intentional at this training about taking everything step by step. So typically when you come in and we give you something, we will allow you to choose what to do with it or not. But I do want to explain how to put the stuff in your binder before we do anything else. So, 2 sheets of paper that you'll have. This one, which is part of the intake sheet with some red lettering on it, along with the PowerPoint slides. Just put these somewhere and just put them to the side for now. Don't put them in your binder quite yet. The next sheet of paper is this beautiful yellow piece of paper. This is intended to be the new back cover of your binder. So you can take out the existing back cover and put this one in. Any trash that you accumulate, just put in the middle of your table. We'll take a break in a couple minutes and we will come around and collect it. Okay, so next we have the 4012. You will notice with the 4012, so this is printed by the IRS, so of course they have to make life a little bit more difficult. All of the tabs in the 4012 are in the back. So at home, you'll just have to go through and insert the tabs where they belong in the book based on the chapters, if that makes sense. But for now, just drop the 4012 into your binder. All the papers that are in there, just leave in the back. So put them behind the 4012. We're actually going to get rid of some of them in a minute. Okay, the next thing to put in is the VITA volunteer guide. So theoretically, you should open up your binder and the first thing you see is this page and this set. The thick black page in the back is meant to be the divider between the volunteer guide, and then the next page after this should be the first page of the 4012. Give me a second on that. Next thing is a 6744. This book is not intended to go in your binder. So what I would do with this is take it, put it in a special place at home, you're safe, whatever, and forget about this until January or so. I will talk about it in a minute, but put it to the side. Do not try to put it in your binder. One other good question was, there is some stuff that we gave you in your binder in the beginning at that first time we met in an info session. Some of that is very important, some of it is not. So the last page that is important is that list of sites. So immediately after the list of sites, there's a bunch of tax information, which is actually from last year's 4012. All of that can be discarded except for the pink sheet in the back. So the first page that can be discarded is the filing status decision tree, and then everything up until that pink sheet in the back. And again, just throw it right in the middle of your table. We're going to take a break in a couple minutes, and we will come around and recycle all of that, or place it in the recycling thing. About discarding stuff? Okay, so I'm repeating what we're discarding. So there should be a site list. So the next page after the site list is a filing status decision tree. Everything from there to the pink sheet can be discarded. We never know when we're going to get our 4012, so we gave everybody pieces of the 4012 that are important to start with in case we didn't get it in time, and so you could get it earlier on. So it'll get recycled and made into a new 4012 next year, theoretically. Okay. So before we get going, while everybody continues to put their stuff away, of course, thank you again for coming out. This training is scheduled for 2 hours. I do not anticipate going 2 hours tonight. We got through this in about an hour and a half in the morning, and evening tends to go a bit quicker. I would like to introduce Jackie Ballou. She's standing in the back. There you go. Hi, Jackie. So at VITA, we have 3 full-time staff, myself, Steve, who was here earlier but had to go, and Jackie. Something that we will repeat at every single training is that we are here to help. So if you have questions, comments, concerns, anything, seek out Jackie, Steve, or myself, and we are happy to help. Of course, if you're at home, use that cell phone number if you want to call, text, or feel free to email. That yellow sheet has all of our information on it. So it seems like everyone's okay with the binder. I'm just going to quickly go through the agenda and what we hope to cover tonight. So what we said at the information session is our goal is to give you all of the materials and then you can choose how to use them best. So that's what we're doing tonight. I'm just going to go through each of the materials. We have some print materials, which are obviously in front of you. We have some stuff that you can use online. I will review the training path again rather briefly. Talk about the test again very briefly. Mention a thing or two in the volunteer portal. Then we'll take a quick break, make sure everybody's organized. We'll throw away your trash, 5 minutes or so, and then we'll go into that 1040 overview. So what I do not intend to do tonight is really talk about tax law. The idea for tonight is give you all your materials, get you familiar with them, and talk about some basic tax mechanics. So when you do have the tax law class, you have a good understanding of the effects of filing status, deductions, dependency on the tax return, if that makes sense. So, starting off, material. So everybody now has their binder, which should be mostly well organized. So in your binder, you have your 4012. This is something that we're going to talk about a lot too. The 4012 is the most useful resource. So during all of our tax law trainings, we will be referencing the 4012. And the 4012 is nice because you have those tabs that will, bless you, be in the correct spots. So if you're going through training or if you're sitting with a client and you have questions about filing status or dependency, you can just flip to that page and there are resources to help you make a decision in the 4012. The other thing that you have in your binder is the volunteer guide that we print. So the 4012 is printed by the IRS, so there's no information in there about state and local taxes. So we print all of that in addition to things that volunteers find valuable that are not printed in the 4012. You'll also notice that the front page of that volunteer guide has a bunch of places for you to put login information. So in January, once we get into the software, you can put login information for the software in addition to the scheduling software as well. So those are the primary print materials that we use. And again, the idea with these binders, please bring them to every VITA training and any time you're at the site, because they are absolutely the most helpful things that you will have. You also notice that everything we give you in regard to PowerPoints, handouts will be hole punched. The binder is now yours and organized how we suggest. Feel free to do with it what you want. Some people put all their PowerPoints in there, some don't. That's perfectly fine to use your judgment there, obviously. So those are our print materials. Moving on, I'm going to show a couple of our online resources that are available as well. And this is an evening training, and I hear the traffic was not the best, so we'll welcome folks as they come in. Sorry. Okay, that's true. So one quick note is anytime you need to find an IRS publication online, you can simply Google search IRS pub, P-U-B, and then the number. So to find a 4012, again, you have it in print, but if you want it online, you can just Google search IRS pub 4012. One nice thing about online resources is they are searchable. So this is probably rather basic for an evening crowd, but if you need to find information on capital gains, you can find an online resource, hit Control F, type in what you need, and then you can just scroll through the document and look at all the instances of capital gains. So that's one advantage to having online resources. Every year the IRS cuts costs and prints less and less, so we might not have the 4012 next year. So at the end of the tax season, leave everything in your binder. Tax law might totally change, but we'll see. So the next resource, the 4491. So this is only available online. This is one that the IRS used to print out for everybody, but they stopped doing that. So you can think about this as your tax textbook. So unlike the 4012, which has some nice decision trees and information that's laid out in a much more convenient way, this is just a textbook. So there's chapters, and then it's just, again, text going through. So this is a useful resource if you learn well from a textbook or enjoy reading textbooks. And again, this is only available online. You can just Google search Pub 4491 to find the 4491. Some folks have been asking if we suggest printing this. We do not suggest printing this. It's quite a few pages. That said, if you go through and you really enjoy it, then you might want to consider printing it out. But at this point, we do not suggest printing it. I don't know if I've run into anyone over the years that has printed it, but there it is. Next is Link and Learn taxes. So this is very different from the other resources in that these are exercises. So there is a link, and I'll talk about that in a minute in your binders. But these are, so we'll go to personal exemptions workout. So instead of just information being listed like the other books, these are little practice scenarios for you. So once you get through a couple things, you have a question. So, no. So here's a question about Brad and Helen. So you can just easily go through here. Again, this is not the test. This is not a test. But you can choose the answer if you get it right. Oh, cool, I got it right. Then you can go on to the next question. So this is something that some volunteers really enjoy using. Other volunteers hate it. So what I suggest you do with Link and Learn is before or after the first training, go in, explore a little bit, see if you like it. If you like it, that's great, use it. If you don't like it, just forget it exists and never go back to it. One thing that is nice about Link and Learn are these menus. So there's a basic menu and an advanced menu. If you are doing advanced, you do not do the basic menu and the advanced menu. All of the basic items are also included in the advanced menu, if that makes sense. So what's nice here is you come to class, you learn about filing status and dependency, and you think you're really good at it, and you want to test your skill. So you can just click on the filing status workout and then answer some questions. So again, this is another resource that's available. Some people love it, some people hate it. You can decide whether or not which group you fall in. So I will have everybody turn in your binder to the training path document. That was one that was given out at the information session, so that should be in with those things. It is immediately behind the training schedule. Okay, so the best news for everybody here and all of our volunteers is that all of our tax law trainings are not taught by me. We have a tax expert, Jared Miller, who was a tax partner at RKL for several years. He now teaches at E-Town. So he is really our in-house tax expert. So he will handle all of the tax law training. So you can see on that training path that there are each of the trainings listed. And then next to each of the trainings, there are, let me get this back up. There are chapters in each of the books we discussed. So there's the chapters in the 4012, it's the one you have in your binder. Chapters in the 4491, which is available online. It mentions their PowerPoint slides as well. So we are video recording all of our trainings. So every week I will send out a video recording of the training for that week along with the PowerPoint slides that were used. So if you can't make a training or you want to relive the excitement, you can watch the video and use the PowerPoint slides as they go out. The last thing on that training syllabus, if you will, is the Link and Learn site. So if you are interested in taking a look at Link and Learn, you can just Google search IRS Link and Learn, or you can use the URL that's provided there. So flipping to the next page, for some of you this is going to be the next page in your binder. For others it will be the reverse page. This has a list of all of the books. So we've discussed all of them except for two. One of them is that 6744, which is the test book. Something that I emphasized early on, and I'll continue to do so, please don't worry about the test. I know the test book is thick, but there are 2 basic tests, 2 advanced tests, and then some more tests in the back. So please don't worry about the test. How the test works is there's a bunch of practice tax problems. There's some fake W-2s, fake intake sheets. So once we teach you how to use the software, you will prepare the fake returns in your software and then answer questions based on them into the book, and then you can upload the answers from the book back up online. My point there is don't do anything with it until we teach you how to use the software. At that point, we will also show you the online test system. I mentioned this also at the information sessions, but you do have multiple opportunities to pass the test. So if you make it through training, you will pass the test, and we have those open practice sessions to help you with your test. So you'll be fine with the test. The last thing on there that I did not mention and you do not have yet is the bright red book. Much like the test, we will give you guys a bunch of practice tax problems. So in January, when we teach the software, you will also get a book that we print with a bunch more fake tax scenarios in it so that you can go through and practice using the software, so you'll receive that book in January. So that covers all of our books. The next thing in there that we did go over at the information session as well is the list of sites. What we'll say now is we're still working on getting the schedule loaded in, so that's not quite ready yet. But take a look at that, start to figure out where you want to be. Scheduling for sites will work much the same as scheduling for the trainings. So one thing in Volunteer Scheduler that I want to point out is a very popular question. And this is not going to look totally familiar because this is on my end. Let's say I'm trying to sign up for a training in February. All the way on, nope, you guys are not looking at what I'm looking at. Give me a sec, sorry. This is going to make for a good video. All right, back on track. So I can only see up to January on there. This is a popular question I get via email. There are these little arrows that are hiding up here. That is how you get yourself more months. Makes sense? So if you want to go forward a couple months, you can use that. Back, use that. All right. So that's the only thing I had to show with the volunteer scheduler system. Again, once we load the training, once we load the site schedule in, that's how you can go in to sign up there.